Kamera läuft.
Yes, good morning. It's really nice to meet the two of you. To me, the Intrigo story has a touch of some Agatha Christie mystery and the Nordic noir. Can you together tell us a bit what makes it so unique, or what is the specialty of the movie and also the trilogy?
Should I start?
Yeah. Yes, you should.
Yeah, sure. I believe this is the essence of his writing, to be honest. There is both this Madam reality that is a sort of invented Håkan Nesser place, and it's also filled with Scandinavian or Swedish drama, and the combination of it, I think it brings something extra to the story, to all three of them actually.
That leads me to my next question. The movie is set in your very own universe, Håkan, the country surrounding Madam. So was it hard to find the right location to shoot the movie, and what were the premises to find the right location?
It was extremely hard because it was the hard thing was because you have a whole film crew, you have people looking for locations, and I know several of the people that read the script for the first time working with the film. Madam, they Googled on Madam, and they just wanted to see how does it look like, and what are we looking for. And I felt that I was the only one that had a certain idea of this is how it should look like. So that was pretty hard to begin with, to get all the whole crew to understand that this is Europe, but it's not specified. There are old houses, there are new houses, there are all these things that we needed for the story.
Yeah, but you were shooting in how many countries and how many different spots? I mean, you were all over Europe to find this.
Yeah, we went to 4 countries to bring it together. So.
But I think that is what is needed to be if you have some unique universe which you created. So it's hard to find one place.
That was the whole thing. And I know my producer, who is American, he didn't really understand why do we need to find this? Can't we just do it here? No, it's not possible. We need to find it because it has to have another thing to it. So we had to travel around quite a lot.
I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, no, but it's,
I didn't realize that they were going to shoot a movie out of this. But I mean, it's of course it's very complicated to film something that doesn't really exist, or that's something that exists everywhere, bits and pieces.
How was it for you to see Madam for the first time?
It was great. I mean, it could have been a disaster, but I mean, since Daniel, you were so accurate and you were so keen on getting the right details. So it was, to me now, for the first time, I have a clear picture of what Madam looks like, really. So, yeah, and I'm very happy about the movie. And you said Agatha Christie. I think I would say Alfred Hitchcock, because I mean this is pure storytelling, only doing it as a film, not as a book, to me. And I mean there is an English saying that it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and this is exactly what it is, because you can't watch this movie and go out, have a cup of coffee, you'll miss everything. And it's this kind of, all these films are these kinds of films that you need, what's going on, what's going to happen now. And I think as a spectator you get smart just by watching this movie.
Yes, I think because your writing is already known to be not just very thrilling, but also to be dealing with the fundamental questions of humanity and the human being, and very philosophical. But how did you try to translate? Because I think you made it very well, you got it very well to the screen, but...
Of course, that was both the hard part, because for instance, in Death of an Author, this is a lone guy with all his thoughts, and I would say the world around him is quite hostile, and he's all by himself. And to keep that psychological thing around him and make his development over time in this film, I think I'm very grateful for Benno's how he did this character. In a way, I think he brought life to this David in a way that is. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, because I mean, I can. If you're a writer, you can just go inside his head and tell what he's thinking. Whereas you, as a film director, you don't have that chance. I mean, if you don't want this inner dialogue, inner monologue. So, yeah.
Do you think that the uncertainty of death is worse than the death itself?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think so.
I would say so.
I mean, that's when if you ask people who are there in it, where a child or daughter has disappeared, not knowing what happened to her, it's even worse than to get a very negative.
Would you recognize your wife coughing amongst thousands of other women in the world?
How do you do that? I don't know. I think that is something between two people, that you know each other in such in a way that you can.
You could imagine that it is possible.
Yes, and that's the whole thing. You can imagine that it's possible.
And he can. How could you know that he is right in the first place? He thinks it's his wife sitting there, but he's not 100% sure.
No,
but
he can't be.
He can't be. But really, he. I suppose you. Yeah, you could. I think you could.
And he needs to find out.
Yes, of course. But I just expected that when he talks to other people, how they must feel when he says, "I heard my wife coughing," and they must be like, "Wow."
Wow. Yeah.
But I think he's not telling anyone.
No, not really.
No. But if he would, I just think if I imagine to be telling this other
you're
people,
crazy.
Yeah.
Out of your mind. Yeah.
And can you give us a little sneak peek of what we can expect from Maria and Agnes? What do these three films have in common, and what differentiates them?
From my point of view, I think all of them have the storytelling of Håkan, which I think is unique, and it's also about people and people's minds, and also about truth and what is truth. And in these times, maybe it's more.
Yeah, absolutely. Fake news stuff.
So I think that it's the world and the way we deal with the world. I think that's what's the common thing between these stories.
And as you say, they all deal with the fundamental questions of life, the existentialistic questions. Why are we here? Why do we do the bad deeds that we don't want to do? Why do we behave this way towards each other?
How far are we prepared to go?
Good, yeah.
Which is also...
Yeah, you can get squeezed into a corner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a murderer, but within certain circumstances, I could. Probably. How far could I go as a human being to create some kind of balance?
Yeah. So my last question is, I'm from the biggest German book community, LovelyBooks, and so our interview is presented to readers who love Hakan Nesser's writing and know his books very well. What is your message? Why should they now decide to go to the movie theater and watch their movie?
Because if Håkan Nesser says so, they should. because I always say that the book is always better than the film, but in this case, the film is just as good as the book. And in 2 of these 3 films, the end is slightly twitched, so it's not the same as in the book, which would...
There is probably another dimension to it. Of course, it's visual, and if you want to see how Madam looks like, you better see the films.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tack så mycket.
Tack.
Mange tack.